Still mute?
We'll start in a few minutes as I'm just giving everybody a few minutes to tune in. So hang loose. Leah Rosenberg is here. Hello.
Let's see.
Rachel Gabay is here. Adi Moser is here from England. Okay, welcome, Adi. And Yitzhak is here. Esther Sussman is here. Hi, Esther. Welcome. I have it says Esther, but I have Aviva Sussman. It's
Yeah,
one
it's
your mother
Aviva.
and one you, or something like that.
No, it's Aviva. I'm changing my name.
Oh, you're changing name. Okay.
Yeah, it's the Zoom.
Okie dokie. So who is R and who is the letter A? Chava Marshak. Okay, that's okay. Now I understand who Chava is. Hi, Chava. Welcome.
Hi.
Now we're together. Great.
You can't hear me, right?
Now I can hear fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Maybe
All
on
right,
my
it's
end.
working.
I think it was my end. Nechama
Okay.
Friedman is here. Welcome, Nechama.
I don't know how to change owner to my name, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, right. I actually could tell you that, I think.
And I've never done this before, so I
Okay, yeah, you're learning.
don't know.
Okay. Who is Raish? Someone has the screen name of Raish. And Samuel G is here. Hi. Hi, Samuel. Help me out. What's your last name?
Glock.
Gluck. Okay, welcome. Where are you
Thank you.
tuning in from?
Where am I from?
Yeah.
Belgium, Antwerp.
Okay, nice to have the European connection
Yeah.
here today. We have
Thank
England and Belgium, and we have Lakewood and Brooklyn, and we have Yerushalayim. We have people here in the classroom from Beitar. So we have a really nice group of Eden from all over. Yuda Pfizer, okay, I see you, Yuda. Okay. Hanukkah is here. Okay, great. That's good to know. And Yitzchak, wonderful. Okay, it's 5:03. We have a quorum, so let's begin. You guys ready in class? Ready? Can you see or should I turn out this light also? In general, you'll bring a laptop in the future, but meanwhile, you'll watch on here. Okay? Because I'm going to share my presentation on the screen. Are you able to get in?
Yeah.
To the Zoom?
Oh, I should go into Zoom?
I think it's easier to watch on Zoom, or you could watch on the board, however it's better for you. You have the Zoom invitation?
I have it.
Okay, great. So take your time, no hurry, whatever. Okay, so Kodem Kol, before everything else, welcome, Bruchim Aboyim. Welcome to Tzomit Cybersecurity course. My name is Jonathan Ratner, and I'm going to give us today some background, some overview of how we got here and why we're here and what plans are and some meetings, how we're going to make it happen. So let me begin. So we founded Tzomit Career Counseling and Training in 2009, more than a decade ago, my wife and I. My wife is the driving force. I'm the back office guy. I'll share with you a little bit about my experience. I have a master's degree in management from Boston University. You guys need to close your sound so I don't echo. Thank you. So our concept is market-based career guidance and training. The community that we live in is gewaldig. It's a community of growth and strength and wonderful things, much blessing. There's been a teeny tiny gap in the amount of attention given to earning an honest living, parnasa. And we were very sensitive to that issue. I was brought up, my father was a pharmacist and my grandfather was a pharmacist. And earning an honest living was really a primary value. And both for the young women in Beis Yaakov and especially the men in yeshiva, it wasn't clear how they were supposed to be able to do that. Could you close the door? So we came at it. My wife has a master's in counseling. She was a school counselor, and we're both educators. I'm a Rosh Kollel. I have a kollel in Beit Shemesh for over 20 years. And we wanted to help people and channel them in the right direction to be able to earn an honest living. And it starts, of course, with oneself. What do you bring to the table? What are your skills? Who are you? And then there's the question of what's out there. What are my opportunities? So it's a two-way street. So it's market-based, meaning we're looking at the market, the world employment market, and looking for opportunities there. I'll give you an example of a different course that we offer, TEFL, Teaching English as a Foreign Language. There are, a billion Chinese people, and they all want to speak English because speaking English is cool. And so there's companies, there's something called VIP Kid and Gaga Kid, and there's tens of Chinese companies that are teaching English to Chinese children by having direct online contact with American English speakers or from all over the world. So we gave a course here in Israel to Haredi women. Actually, a lot of them were Hasidic women. They speak English with a Yiddish accent, but we taught them how to use the computer and go online and teach Chinese kids English, and they're earning a living that way. And that's really satisfying for us that we really opened up a world to them of parnasa and doing something good for their families. So that's a concept of what we do. We got to cybersecurity, and I worked in the field of cybersecurity. I can tell you right now, I'm not a technology guy. Okay, I have a love-hate relationship with technology. My main claim against technology is that sometimes, too often, doesn't work. And I think whoever invented technology should have made it that it works. And it doesn't always work, and that's so frustrating for me. So I love and hate technology. So whenever you have technical or technological questions, don't ask me, okay? It's just, that is not my job, okay? And Yitzchak is giving class today. Yitzchak's a technological person. He's technical. And Hannah also, she'll be here to help you out and answer questions. And we have a technical staff, and we're technical, but that's not my forte. Anyway, let me go on and tell you if I'm not bringing technology, what are we bringing to the table? So I wrote here that SOMIT's unique integrated career guidance assessment tools. Okay, we have cool assessment tools because we understand what my kids call Torah Tanefesh, the soul, psychology of persons, subconscious and subconscious, particularly about personality types. We're experts in analyzing personality types. And that's sort of, again, that the inner man and finding out direction from your strengths. Are you introverted or extroverted? Are you a detail person or your big picture? Are you an emotional person who wants to teach kids, or you're rather dry and you want to sit with a computer? So, different people are different, and you should work in a field that accesses your skills, because if you're happy there and you're using your strengths, you're much more likely to succeed. But that's sort of where my angle on it, my wife's an extrovert, okay? And so she's out and about and creating connections. We have really good connections with industry all over the world. Industry leaders, creating opportunities to put people to work, earning an honorable living. So we're really well connected in the Israeli cyber ecosystem, but we have connections also in Australia, and we're working now on expanding our footprint in the US and the UK, and that's really what we're here for. In our partnership with you, and I'm going to talk more about that. So my basic point and why I'm sharing this with you is because we are here to earn money and to plan and develop our career. So that's how you should be thinking about this. You shouldn't be taking this course, just because, I want to learn something about cybersecurity. if you want to do that, like take a free course online, or spend 50 shekels or something like that, then take a Udemy course. You should be here because you want to change your life, and you're going to invest, significant time and of course resources in order to really turn yourself into a cybersecurity professional. And so in this particular slide, I'm showing that it's, again, interplay between your inner world and your outer world, your inner world, your skills, personality, inclinations, what makes you happy. And this is important because even having made a decision that I'm going to enter the field of cyber, which is a good decision because it's a huge and growing field with a shortage of talented people. That's why we're here. But even having made that decision, we're going to see today, and we'll, as the year goes on, you'll understand this even better, that there is a wide variety of different things within the cybersecurity industry that you could do. And they're very different. Your day would look different, and your interaction with technology and people would be different. So you need to keep your eye out what aspects of cybersecurity interest you and do you enjoy and what not. It is good if everybody mutes unless they have a question. Okay, thank you. So now I will tell you the specifics of my cybersecurity experience. A number of years ago, I worked as the CFO, as Chief Financial Officer of an investment fund and then a publicly traded company that had a good technology in the homeland security business. We could check your shoes for metal to see you didn't have a knife or gun in your shoes without you taking off your shoes. So you wouldn't have to take off your shoes in airports, which is a great idea. But for a number of reasons, the company didn't go anywhere. Anyway, but through that, I got involved in the Israeli homeland security industry. And from there, I got to a company that had what's called multi-factor authentication on your smartphone. So they had developed an app that on your smartphone, there's a real lot of genius in your smartphone. It knows where you are, of course, GPS, and there's an altimeter, and it has the ability to check your fingerprint and to do face recognition. So we actually were able to participate in Citibank's technology accelerator in Tel Aviv. And we developed an app that Citi, okay, potentially, it didn't really happen, but potentially they would have used our multi-factor authentication so that when you want to take money out from the Kaspomat, from the ATM, so the computer would say, well, have you ever used this ATM before? Are you in a place that's realistic for you to be? Is it really you, or has your card been stolen? It's not that hard to get a PIN code, and there's all sorts of scamming devices that can rip off your stuff, but they can't rip off your face so easily. So with face recognition, voice recognition, possibly fingerprint, other biometrics, having what's called multi-factor authentication greatly strengthens systems. And that's something that you'll learn about in this course. And I do want to share an insight, because I recently went to a webinar about this, that even if you had 50-factor authentication, okay, and you had to submit a blood test and everything else, at the end of the day, the system that's allowing you access is going to give you a token to create a session. And that's really one token. And the hackers, basically, they go behind and they steal your token. So they don't have your face, and they don't have your fingerprint, and they don't have your voice, but they don't really need it because they can get the token from the back end. So every system is hackable. And so you have to be really careful. And we're going to learn, more about how and what and how to prevent and how to mitigate and counterattack and so forth. Anyway, I was in Citibank's Technology Accelerator in Tel Aviv, and I met other great companies there, including one called SickSkill. SickSkill is a shark that lives at the bottom of the ocean. And this is actually a Jew from, I think he's from Chile. And he hired me to be business development guy in his team. And they were in the dark web, okay, the dark net. The dark net is like, I actually have a slide showing how the internet that we know and that Google accesses is a tiny percentage actually of the internet. There's a real lot of stuff on the deep net and then the dark net. The dark net was actually created by the US Navy so that basically spies or dissidents in foreign countries could communicate over the internet without the locals knowing who they are. So using a lot of nodes and it's hard for me to explain the internet technology, but basically you can use the internet in a very anonymous way that no one can know where you are, who you are. And so that what it's become is a black market for crime. So in the dark net, where credit card numbers are stolen and sold. Weapons are bought and sold. A real lot of crime and dark stuff happens on the dark net. And so Sixkill is there, and they go into various forums there to see who's selling what to whom. And it's in order to alert the banks, these credit cards have been stolen, and this is what they're planning to do. And these bad guys are teaming up with these bad guys. And they've actually been very successful. Sixkill is a young company. They've raised a lot of money. They have now, I think, 25 people on their team. When I was with them, they were just 2. So that I gained more insight into cybersecurity. I attended some cybersecurity threat intelligence workshops in Washington, D.C. And so I got really excited about the industry. It's exciting. There's sort of cops and robbers. It's sort of fun. We're good guys fighting bad guys. And so I like that. And again, I saw there was a huge shortage of good people in the industry. And I thought that for the Avrechim and for the smart Jewish women and men, if they'll take the time and make the investment to learn the basics of internet protocol and so forth and cybersecurity, there's a great opportunity here. And that has proven to be true. And we're now in our 4th year, and we have, students, graduates who are placed and are doing really well. They're earning a nice living based on the 1-year course that we offer. So we developed the course with leaders in the field in Israel, people from what's called Shmona Matayim, Unit 8200, which is Israel's hackers, okay, and other people in industry, and they helped us develop the curriculum of the course. And you're going to meet shortly your instructor today, who is a great guy. I'm going to call him Yitzhak K because I can't say his last name. And he's himself working in the field. He's risen really fast, and he's like a master, an expert in hacking and the whole thing of cybersecurity. My wife, this is a picture of my wife, Hannah, speaking at Tel Aviv University. Again, she's into this ecosystem, and she knows the people, and we can open a lot of doors for you. This other woman in the picture is Karen Elazori. She's like the guru of Israeli cyber. Here's a Frum woman. She's mamish at the top of the totem pole, Hani Neuberger. She's head of cybersecurity of the Defense of the United States of America at the NSA. So that's unbelievable that a Frum woman is at that position. And one of the reasons I'm sharing this with you is because some of the students today don't know almost anything about internet communications and cybersecurity, data security, and that's okay. Nobody was born knowing anything about cybersecurity. Anybody who knows anything today has learned it at some point in their life. And so it's not too late to start and to learn it. So the sky is the limit, how far you can get. It's all gonna be a question of how much you apply yourself and how much you make a deep dive to learn the field. Here's another guy, a Ger Husid from Bnei Brak, and like Google ranked him the 23 top hacker in the world. So he's obviously a very bright guy, but again, he didn't get it in Yeshiva Ketana. It's something that he's picked up along the way. And he's shown a lot of initiative. He has his own company. So again, doesn't matter where you're coming from. And nobody really cares in this industry, because even the industry of cybersecurity are sort of white hackers. They're themselves people who are hackers. And so they're interested in what you can do, but not necessarily what you look like or where you're coming from. Again, 34% of the people in this industry have no prior experience in this. Others come from, the FBI, the CIA, the military, or, commercial research, or from law enforcement, police, and so forth. But over a third of the people in the industry are coming from scratch, like many of us. Personality types and cybersecurity system. I shared this before, not everybody saw my presentation, but I found a really a beautiful 6-minute video about this, and that's what I'm going to share now. That, I have approximately 25 people on my attendance list, and I'm sure we share some things in common, but many things are different about us. And so watch this video that I'm going to share with you now about different types of people, even just the titles here. One is a graphic designer, and one is a social engineering trainer, a network security administrator, a much more detailed person. Hi, welcome. A social media consultant, that person's an extrovert, and an ethical hacker. This guy was a hacker. So I'm now going to share this YouTube video with everybody. So let's make this happen. share computer sound. And no, that's not what I want. Here it is. Okay, can you see my YouTube screen now, people? Yes? Okay, so here we go.
There's more advanced technology in your phone than it took to get America to the moon. The apps and games of today were the subject of science fiction just 30 years ago. But with technology changing so fast, it can be hard to know what's going to happen next, or where the next threat is going to come from. As someone raised with advanced modern technology, you have experience that experts a few decades ago would never have imagined. And you're going to have opportunities to turn that experience into a profitable career. This presentation is a quick introduction to the growing field of cybersecurity and how to get started on the path to a cybersecurity job. Cybersecurity is usually defined as the use of techniques or skills to protect data, networks, and systems from attack. Everyone knows someone who's been hacked, or has had their identity stolen, or even just lost control of their Facebook for a few hours. And there's always bigger attacks in the news. Data breaches at major companies means that millions of people can have their data stolen and sold on the black market. Hackers can use this data to make money, find more data to sell, or even ruin their victims' lives just for the fun of it. That's where cybersecurity comes in. Cybersecurity experts are the ones who are able to fight cyber criminals on their own turf, stopping them from accessing important information and keeping people safe. There's currently a cybersecurity skills shortage in the United States. There simply aren't enough people to fill all of the available jobs, and the problem keeps getting bigger. See, hackers don't have to be smart. The internet is full of tutorials about how to use pre-made scripts and attacks to wreck someone else's day. Most hackers don't know a lot about computers and don't take time for special training or study. They just grab that pre-made script and go cause a mess. That means there's millions of low-level hackers out there. Cybersecurity experts, on the other hand, are fewer but more valuable. They've taken the time to study a problem and know how to use their talents. That means cybersecurity experts can be harder to find, and they're desperately needed. Think of it this way. Even if an enemy hacker is only level 1, 50 enemies can still overrun a fortress. You need at least one level 50 cybersecurity expert to beat them all. Here are a few of the many kinds of jobs that you might see in the cybersecurity field. Graphic designer. Michelle is an artist. She works for a cybersecurity firm designing posters and creating eye-catching images to teach people about security. Social engineering trainer. Lee is an actor. He understands how to portray emotion and tell a convincing story, so he teaches other people how to tell when someone is lying or trying to scam them. Network security admin. Joe likes puzzles and problem solving. She's good at spotting when something doesn't fit a pattern, so she monitors the computer networks and is the first to see when a hacker is trying to break in. Social media consultant. Hendrik was on Tumblr before anyone else. He always knows what's trending before it even trends, and has seen all the scam emails and messages that get sent around. He works as a consultant, explaining the possible dangers of social media to people who don't know much about it. Ethical hacker. Adam used to want to be a hacker. Instead, he joined up with a security firm and became an ethical hacker, which lets him do the same thing legally. Adam's job is to play the role of cyber criminal, testing targeted systems and seeing if he can break into them. If you think cybersecurity sounds like a good fit for you, then great. You're in for a wild ride with a lot of challenges and opportunities. Here's a few things you can do to start preparing for a career in cybersecurity. Take courses online. There are a lot of online training programs like Coursera. Remember, though, that many programs are scams and don't offer real certifications, so always research the course and double-check with your parents to be sure you're getting a real program. Practice, practice, practice. Play with code and talk to other people who are interested in computers and security. Find a mentor. Ask your teacher or a family member who knows about cybersecurity if they'll mentor you. See if you can arrange a visit to a local technology company and ask about what kind of attacks they have to deal with. You'll hear some good stories. Join a camp. Many organizations offer tech boot camps to teach you the basics of security, programming, and even ethical hacking. Participate in competitions. Challenges such as the Global Cyber Olympics will give you a chance to test your skills against other people of varying skill levels, and prizes include free courses, streaming video, and cash. This skills that you have a very valuable opportunity. Chances are you've grown up with a PC, a smartphone, a tablet, or all three. If you're 18, you could have 12 years of experience using a computer, and that means you already know things that older generations have had to be trained on.
Yeah,
And
mommy, I'll bring you with me. I'll bring you with me.
Pretty good too. The one thing that most intimidates people about cybersecurity or any computer job is the idea that you need to know how to program a computer. While understanding and writing code can be very valuable skills, a lot of employers would prefer someone who's smart and willing to learn over someone who can do code and nothing else. Often, the answer is yes. A bachelor's degree in computer science, for example, can be very helpful in understanding cybersecurity. However, if you don't want to go to college, you can still learn a lot of things on your own that will make it easier to break into cybersecurity. Thanks to the internet, you have an incredible amount of information at your fingertips. Today, we went over the basics of cybersecurity and cybersecurity careers. We reviewed what cybersecurity is and why it's a growing industry, as well as a few of the jobs that are open for different skill sets. Finally, we went over what you can do to be a part of the cybersecurity field. Thanks for taking the time for our presentation.
So it was, I thought, super relevant and showed a lot of valuable stuff about different types of roles in the cybersecurity industry, as well as giving some tips. So that's why I shared that. I want to pick up on a point or two that they mentioned there. Turn off your sound so I don't get echoed. Thank you, it's okay. They talked about the hackers being low level, and they're, of course, mute all. That's a good idea. Mute all. Mute all. Okay. So a lot of low-level hackers. Somebody called me Erev Shabbat Friday. They were all in a panic because their yeshiva got an email saying we've broken into your system, and unless you send us $2,000 of Bitcoin, within the next 24 hours, we're going to, destroy all your files or whatever we're going to do. Something called ransomware. And the most likely scenario is that the person who sent that email had done nothing to their system and had not broken into their system at all. And they just sent out an email to people with this threat. And the idea is that there are many, many attack kits or something else on the dark web that you can go to the dark net and you can get a few lines of code or even different scams, phishing scams, all sorts of scams, and send them to people. And a lot of the people will just click delete, let's say, as they should. But if even 2% of the people will actually send you the money, so then you did pretty good. The scammers play a numbers game. If you send out 1 million emails, threatening to lock people's files or to disgrace them publicly, whatever, and a few people, a small percentage, will fall for it and send you money, so you did good. So the number of hackers is enormous because it's easier to hack than to earn an honest living. And so that's not going to change. And I want to mention, at least briefly, why it is that the internet is so subject to hacking. And it has to do with the history of the development of the internet, which because I'm older than most of you here, I actually remember. When I started working for a Wall Street firm, we used to get the trades at the end of the day by fax, okay? And then we got more advanced until there was actually a website and so forth. But the internet developed, it started a long time ago, but let's say the 90s were a really important decade. But in the 70s and the 80s, it was a way that a few university professors were able to connect their computers in, remote locations, and these were giant computers, and they could communicate and send information. They were not concerned with security, they were concerned with connectivity. And so, R is having trouble trying the building. Can anyone help? R must be on their cell phone. The building is between Kanfei Nesharim and Beit Atfus, next to the bakery. The internet, there's something called Kahan Academy. I sent you this link to watch about the very basics of hacking and cybersecurity, and they said really good mashal, a good metaphor, that the internet was like a shoebox that was turned into a skyscraper. So it was developed for one purpose, to allow people to connect and share information, and it's become something huge, something totally different, where we're doing so much of our shopping, our business, our banking, and a million other things online. So it was not created with security in mind, or it would have been, the architecture would have been designed differently. So because it's, let's call it open architecture, it's really easy for the hackers to get in there and take our data and abuse it. And so, although we're constantly, trying to close gaps and improve cybersecurity, but it's always a cat and mouse game, where the hackers are coming up with new attack methods, and the cybersecurity guys are mitigating them. So that's not going to change, that basic, cat and mouse thing. And so, one of the important things that you'll learn in this industry is the importance of ongoing learning, because the actual technologies that they're using are all the time changing.
How is this course considered to other courses assignment?
Okay. Well, what exactly do you mean by that?
Some people at the Harvard University how is it compared?
Okay. I'll tell you more about what we're going to learn here. So I'm going back to my presentation. And okay. So I want to talk about the interface between each one of you and this course, and how this course can affect your life. And I'll take your question, how this course compares to other courses. And while you take this course, you may do other courses, okay, online little courses about this, that, or the other thing. But this course is, I'm going to call it holistic. First of all, it gives you a broad background and introduction to the field. Okay, so I think the vast majority of people do not have any background in cybersecurity per se. A few, a little bit in computers or in IT, whatever. But we're basically starting from square one of understanding how the internet is built, how internet communications work, and then opening up various pathways to get a job in the industry. So it's very employment focused, okay? And it's coming with a certain breadth. And in order for us to make that happen successfully, and again, I cite our past success. On Wall Street, they say past success is not indicative of future results, but it does show a pathway, okay? I'm gonna tell you a story now. A story of, I came to Eretz Yisrael in 1987, and I had a chavrusa in Yeshivas Mir. And 2 years ago, his daughter took our course. So that was satisfying for me that my chavrusa's daughter took our course. And after, a month or two, she was crying to her father, Tati, I don't understand anything. I don't even know what they're talking about. And he called me, and I said, Moshe Anshel, relax. And he said, well, for me, it's Chinese. They don't have a computer in the house, okay? So they're al pitaras hakodesh, this my friend. And his daughter's crying. She doesn't, not only does she not understand it, but she doesn't know what it's about, okay? That's part of the reason that I'm giving this introduction today, this sort of overview. Again, I'm not a bits and bytes cybersecurity guy. I'm not, I told you that already, but I understand the industry. And so anyway, so this girl, Javi, she was crying, and I said, she just gotta stick it out and stay with it and so forth, keep doing the homework, etc. And they actually, as I said, they had no computer in their house, but another friend of mine is their neighbor who does have a computer. So Javi spent hours and hours at the neighbor's house on the computer, and she worked really hard to study and to learn about stuff and so forth. We're going to talk about the methodology in a minute. At the end of the year, we placed her in one of the companies that we worked with in an internship program. We have 400-hour program that could change the number of hours, but basically we're putting people essentially to work, unpaid internship at the beginning. Anyway, so Javi was there, and she's a sharp girl. She's not a genius, but she really applied herself. And they came back and they said she had some really great ideas and so forth. Well, she called us 2 weeks ago, and she called my wife and she said, I just got a job offer for 15,000 shekels a month at a different company doing something that I know how to do. That's a lot of money for a Beis Yaakov girl that a year and a half ago didn't know how to essentially turn on a computer. So that's why I say it works. That's not an exceptional story. I mean, it's a very successful story, but a lot of our other students got jobs towards the end of the year in cyber threat technology, cyber threat analysis, and different things. So in terms of how does this course rank? Okay, Harvard, we're not Harvard, okay? And there are giant companies. You could take, I'm gonna talk in a moment about the certifications, like the CEH, okay, is to become a certified ethical hacker. And so the company that offers that international certification, you could take a course from them, okay? And for whatever it costs. And that's up to you. We care about you. We live in the community with you. We've created a program to take people from zero to really putting them into the industry. We're in strong, close connection with people who have taken our course, 2 and 3 years ago. We're still with them, helping them to advance their placement and manage their career. So it has to do with interface between us and you. And I'm going to talk more about that sort of covenant, that brit that we're creating. So I want to talk now what I'm sort of asking of you is to begin thinking about yourselves and your professional brand. And you think, me, a professional brand? And the answer is yes, you got to begin to brand yourself as I am a cybersecurity analyst, technician, whatever. And you're not one yet, but you're studying to be one. So you need to begin to think of yourself in that light. So here I have a slide about professional branding, how you see yourself and how others see you, and the juncture between those two things is your personal and professional brand. And so I had, last year I had a guy who, well, I'm a yeshiva bacher, and this girl says, I'm a Beis Yaakov girl. Well, by the end of the year, don't tell me that. Say, I'm a cybersecurity analyst. I'm a junior cybersecurity analyst. But see yourself, be that role, okay? Make yourself into that person. And it's not that you should pretend to be that person. You should live up to that person by walking the walk. You have to do the studying and learn the stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit about cybersecurity certifications, and I'm going to start about the importance of certifications. So I'm actually a little bit going to de-emphasize them. And I wrote here that certifications are, of course, assets. They're assets on your CV. They're assets in your life and your career. But you should need to understand them as they're nice to have. They are not must have, okay? At least at the beginning of your career. And particularly in Israel, Israel is very much, free-flowing, the Medina Zoremet, okay? And that's part of Israel's great success in cybersecurity and in all of technology, right? Israel's famed as a startup nation, has more, patents per capita than any country in the world, because there's a real lot of love of experimentation and improvisation. It's very much sort of shoot from the hip and try it. What bad could happen? So Israel's very open market. But wherever you are, the most important thing in this field, and again, this is why we're in this field, is because it's not a college degree and it's not actually the certification, it's actually what do you know how to do. The person who's going to give you your job is himself working in the cybersecurity industry, and they're to a certain degree a hacker. And so they're looking for similar people, hackers, frame of mind. And so that's someone who knows how to do stuff, to figure stuff out, to get things done. And so again, if you pass tests and you have certification, that's a good thing. That's a verification, that's authentication that you really know something. But if you show me that you know it by, getting on the computer and doing it, that's a greater proof than any certification. So this course is channeling towards the CEH, the Certified Ethical Hacker I forgot, I can't say this minute the name of the company that offers it. There are other certifications you could look at, and I suggest you Google them and you read about them. The CompTIA Security Plus or the CompTIA Penetration Testing. Cisco has its own thing. Cisco has a Certified Cyber Ops Associate certification and training program. So these are all good things. These are all valuable assets, but they're not, even without them, and again, most of our graduates do not yet have them, but they're already earning and working in the field, okay? So your certification is good and important, and it helps to channel what kind of questions are they gonna ask, what kind of stuff do I need to know? So it's all good, but it's not really what's gonna do it for you. If you were a great test taker, but you don't really know how to do cybersecurity, that's not gonna cut it, okay? You need how to learn to do it, okay? Doing is the main thing. One of the ways that you can learn about stuff and become a cybersecurity expert and an analyst is by staying up to date. As I said, it's constantly evolving because as technology moves forward, I'll give you an example now. During Corona, during the lockdown, both in Israel and in New York and elsewhere, a lot of people are working from home, right? The remote workplace. And it's been around for, a decade and longer, but the percentages of people working from home, has skyrocketed over the past couple of months. And there's something called BYOD, okay, bring your own device. And people bring their own device from home and they hook it up to the network at work. And that's a huge headache for the security team in offices, as is the remote access. There's a bunch of different technologies of remote access, ShareMe and a bunch of different ones. And they're sort of a soft spot for the hackers to get into a network of a company. And so having everybody working from home has opened up a huge breach, a huge opportunity for the hackers. And they've been super active. The number of phishing emails, for example, during the Corona period of April and May was like 600% of the months before it. So the hackers have been really busy during Corona. Zoom itself, Zoom was a great technology and a wonderful platform before Corona, but again, their business skyrocketed in this period. Their stock also did really well, but their security issues also. There's something called Zoom bombing, of people coming into a Zoom meeting and putting stuff on the screen that doesn't belong there. So my point is that the cybersecurity market develops in real time, responding to the reality of technology in the marketplace. And because technology is not going to go backwards, I'll tell you just a brief, almost a joke. In the 1890s, somebody who worked in the US Patent Office made the following statement, and he was serious. He said, everything that could possibly be invented has already been invented, okay? In the 1890s, okay? So that just shows you that, we got everything now, with our smartphones, and no, we don't. And there'll be more things to come. And none of us know what they will be. Okay, again, like I told you, in my lifetime, the stock market used to be traded in fractions and not in decimals. And your trades at the end of the day were sent to you by fax. And I remember when fax machines came into being. My uncle was an accountant and he said, we have this thing that you can write paper. You write a piece of paper, like a copy machine, and it goes over the phone. So fax machines are really cool. I remember my first computer. It had 64 megabytes, and it was like, wow, how much data. So the technology is constantly marching forward, and the bad guys are constantly exploiting it. And so the good guys, and all of us who represent civilization, we want to work, we want to have government, we want to, live our lives. And in order to protect our money in the bank and to be able to use our credit card without the bad guys stealing our money, we have to work really hard to protect ourselves. And that's essentially the cybersecurity industry. So as you make this decision to come into this industry, you need to learn to keep learning, staying up to date. There's a real lot of industry newsletters, there's periodicals, websites. So, begin to subscribe and go to them and check out, Geek Time or whatever ones you choose to read about, if they're local or international. I get a real lot of emails from, here's a great company called KnowBe4. And This is a security culture report of 2020. And this stuff is free, okay? But I take the time to read it because it's interesting, it's happening, and it's our industry. And so it keeps you abreast of what's going on. And it's constantly changing. So this is another report, Cyber Threat Intelligence Report. Again, this is free online. So you need to get into the habit of accessing the information that's available out there. This is a yearly report by Ernst & Young, the top auditing. Oh, sorry. Let's see, that's tricky for me. Okay, hold on. Yes, sure. I'm gonna do this. Oh, I remember now. Duplicate. Okay, my technological difficulty. Okay, it's a young top accounting company all over the world. The accounting companies, right? There was something called the Big Eight. Now it's the Big Four, and they found also that cybersecurity is a huge opportunity for them to offer their clients auditing of their cybersecurity. So a lot of the technical aspects of cybersecurity have sort of been taken over by large accounting companies. And because people put their trust in them, and when they are issuing their auditing statement about publicly traded companies and private companies, one of the things that they need to talk about are the cybersecurity policies of those companies. So Ernst & Young here is talking about the evolution of the role of cybersecurity in product development, that today when a company is developing a new product, they need to begin thinking about its security aspects from the very beginning and not wait till they've developed a product and then only to end try to re-engineer it to make it secure. Okay, so here I want to talk about our covenant, our brit, between the students, the students of Tzomit and our staff. Our staff, we don't have a large staff, but we have a really dedicated staff. And we really care about, our slogan is that your success is our success. And so I have in this picture that there's no magic, okay? There's no magic. Tzomit can open doors. And as I mentioned, my wife is really well, she's muvreget is the Hebrew word. But in English, she's out there, and well connected, thank you. She's really well connected in the cyber industry. We have international connections, and we're continuing all the time to develop that. People like our story. They like our story that there's a shortage of women in the cybersecurity industry. So we have an Australian partner who's also, he gives like free cyber education to women in order to change the ratio and bring more women into the industry. And also we're coming from what I'm going to call a disadvantaged community. The employment rates have been traditionally low and so forth, and we don't have college degrees and things like that. So people are sympathetic and they're excited about when we say, well, we're training people and bringing them into this market. So they want to work with us. They want to give us opportunities. So we can open a lot of doors, but you need to deliver the goods, okay? If you don't know what you're doing, then it won't help to get a job interview or anything else. So what we are really asking is that you bring your best game and that you really invest. And we found that it's a super direct relationship between your willingness, your readiness, and your actual investment of time and mind and even heart, okay? If you really dive deeply into this and you make it your passion, so we've seen great success. And it's not easy to predict necessarily who would do it. I'll give you an example. Last year we had a group of Beis Yaakov women, Haredi women, who took our course actually in Hebrew. And English is really important in this market because all the industry is really done in English, even in Israel. And so with the we told that these Israeli women, they needed to improve their English understanding and so forth. And there were two women that, you know, their English was not mother tongue, but they really invested. They had a sense, they're both married women with children, married to Avrechim, their husbands are in learning, and they felt a really deep sense of responsibility to earn a good living. And so they came to win, they played to win. And they totally immersed themselves in the field and really did a lot, spent hours and hours of not only the homework and the exercises, but research, learning more on their own, taking courses, doing things online. And they became quite successful. And today they're working in the field and they have what to show for it. So it's a really direct relationship between what you put in is what you're going to take out. And so there's no way that you could just come to class and, you know, and watch and enjoy and then think that, oh, I did it. No, you didn't do it. You got to come to class. You got to apply yourself. You have to learn, listen. You have to experiment. You have to try. You have to go home. You have to research more. You have to do the drills, look for more, and so forth. So it's a question of taking responsibility upon yourself to turn yourself into a cybersecurity professional. We're with you. We will guide you. We will open doors, again, to internships and to jobs, but you have to be able to do the stuff. And I can't do that for you. I can't even do it myself, okay? Because that's not what I do. But it is what you're gonna do. And so I need you to sort of fall in love with it, but to become dedicated to it and passionate about it and really interested in it. And if you do that, then I can pretty much promise you success. We've had a really, really great success rate, again, based on mutual investment, and we're here to do our part. I have an insight. I might ask you, who's your best friend? And some people say it's their spouse. Some people say it's their chavrusa. It's your little brother, whoever your best friend might be. I have news for you who your new best friend is, okay? Your new best friend is Google, okay? Because whatever you don't know, whether you don't know how to do it or what you need to know, Google it, okay? And if you haven't Googled it, why are you asking me, okay? Don't ask me what the average salary expectation is of this job. Google it. How would I know? I'll Google it. So why should I Google it for you? Do the research. Google's your best friend. So that's like the answer to everything. So your new best friend for everybody in this course is now Google, okay? I do want to share a few more things before I close up about sort of, again, this pathway to success. So I have your key concepts and methodologies that characterize the successful white hat hacker, okay? Critical thinking and multitasking. You know, there's a book called Sun Tzu, The Art of War. And he says you have to know thy enemy. And here you need to think like the enemy. You got to think like a hacker. And get used to, again, the fast-paced environment. Question everything. How does this technology work? And this second question is so key. This really sums up the ethos of a hacker. How can I make this technology work in a way that it's not designed to work for my advantage, right? How can I cheat on this? How can I warp the system? You know, if you played pinball years ago, you could, you know, what was that called when you hit the machine? But you could get the machine to do what you want it to do, which it was not designed to do. That's the way the hacker does it. Analysis, discovery, and solutions. Analyze and understand technologies, policy, applications, and people. Discover vulnerabilities, exploits, weaknesses in infrastructure, applications, and users. Determine best course of action to reach a solution. From analysis and discovery, implement a solution to fix things within the environment. So again, I'm trying to give you an overview of the kind of thought processes that are best in this field. Technology concepts. I'm gonna let Yitzhak speak, of course, more about the technology. As I said, I'm not a technologist, but just a brief overview of the curriculum. It's gonna begin with networking, how computers communicate with one another, the system, something called the OSI model, virtualization, Active Directory, Linux. I was asked about Linux. A real lot of the computer stuff is done over Linux. Then the the exciting part of the course, information security and ethical hacking. Things that you'll come across in the course, some will get more attention than others, but these are peripheral and part of cybersecurity. The Internet of Things, right? You've heard of a smart home. Bezik has all this smart home stuff today. Your refrigerator, you know, knows when you ran out of milk and so forth. Because a smart home has many appliances, or let's say your air conditioning, you can turn on your air conditioning remotely through your smartphone. So that means if somebody hacks their way into their phone, they could, let's say, set your air conditioning on fire, whatever. My point is that as things are more merushatim, they're more networked, and the network includes more and more things, so there's more room for the hackers to get involved and sort of mess up our lives. The cloud, we'll talk about Google's cloud, the Amazon Azure cloud, and others. The darknet I mentioned a little bit before. Encryption, okay, how our messages and our credit card data and everything's encrypted. We'll talk about symmetric and asymmetric encryption. Deep learning, artificial intelligence, machine learning. These are topics that you need to learn more about. Again, start by Googling them, read a little bit about them, and make yourself familiar with them. And again, they'll be part of the topics covered in the course to a certain degree. Reminding you about the shortage of cybersecurity professionals, 500,000 cybersecurity job openings in the USA. Right, 1 million, it says total employed cybersecurity workforce, 997,000, but job openings, 500,000. Okay, so there's a real lot of opportunity. And again, it has to do with mastering the technology, getting the skills, the know-how to do stuff, and then you could fill these roles. Because, like in that video that I showed, the hackers, some of them are really simple. They're buying an attack set and putting it to work. They don't really understand anything about how it works. And a cybersecurity professional is just that. He's a professional. So he's trained and he knows how to respond, to manage events and security events and so forth. So he's valuable. And so the value of knowledge, at the end of the day, the payoff is in money. Okay, so I took this from a video again on YouTube in the US, entry level, right? Not high level, mid-level, but entry-level cybersecurity salaries. Average annual pay for an entry-level cybersecurity analyst across the US from $67,000 to $90,000 a year. Okay, so I mean, it's not a guarantee. It's in different markets, different places, and many of you maybe you're in Belgium, maybe you're in the UK, and maybe you're in Israel. Every market's different, but there are opportunities, and there are opportunities to earn a really nice living. Some of them even on your own terms, working remotely, working part-time. If you're, let's say, a PT, penetration tester, so your job, and again, this is part of the regulatory environment. Today, in order to, if you want to be a supplier to a government or to even a large organization, you need to have regulatory clearance, approval. And in order to have, a CE mark or whatever regulatory body is relevant, they require that you do PT, that you do penetration testing. So basically everybody needs penetration testers. And so if you have those skills that you can test the system and you can hack a system and then write a report about its vulnerabilities and possible mitigation for those vulnerabilities, so you're really valuable. And so you get paid a lot of money relative, to your hours, and you could do that on your own time. So that's a possible way for, again, a person with a hacking mind to go into the field of PT. That's a really good pathway. But again, it'll take deep devotion to gaining those skills and to learning, how it all works and how to go about it. So again, I've just about used up my time. If anybody has a question or two, I could take a question or two, and then I'm going to turn over the floor to Yitzhak. Otherwise, I'm going to wish everybody success. I will be here throughout the year. We're here for you. As I said, we're partners, okay? And your success is our success. We're going to continue to work and grow and communicate together. So we're empowering you individuals for success. We want to know, more about you and what are your goals and so forth, and to work together. We really see it as a partnership. Yes?
So for something like PT, there's no licensing for that in order for a company to hire you, just that you know how to do it, that's enough?
Essentially, yes. Again,
So these are
there's certification.
government I mean, how do they prove that they hired someone that does this properly?
Okay, good question. So the question was, does a person need to be like a licensed PT tester? And the answer is, again, there's certification, and this course prepares you to become a certified ethical hacker. So then you have certification that you have been trained in this field. And we, of course, will give you our certification of this SOMIT course, saying the number of hours and the curriculum that you studied. But it's not like to be a doctor, you need a license, right? You need, a medical thing. And the same thing with a lawyer, there's a bar exam. There's no such thing right now in the cybersecurity industry, okay? So essentially, no. Okay, it's all about what you know.
Will the course give you the tools or like to show you where to start or like how to hack into social media accounts and things like that?
Absolutely, yes, yeah, that's what it's about. Okay, so at this point, I'm ready to turn it over to Yitzchak. Without further ado, I'll let him introduce himself. I'll just say that Yitzchak is a good friend of mine, and that he's passionate, and I'm gonna use the word brilliant in cybersecurity, and so he has a real lot to teach you. So in one sentence, walk with us, and if we walk together, we can go really far, okay? So good luck, b'atzlacha, bracha v'atzlacha l'kulanu. Thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Yitzchak, I'm gonna make you the host.
Yeah, okay. And you want me to start recording or? Oh, yeah, I see already recording.
I'm actually
Okay.
gonna stop the recording and then you'll make a new one. That way we'll have it as 2 pieces. Oh, now you're the host, so you stop and start it, please.
Okay, I'll stop it. Yeah.